I think anytime you can open the eyes, get people excited about any subject, because when they do that, they come in and they think, oh, I want to learn about that more. You inspire them to read and grow. And so, yeah, it's just the most fantastic thing. The fact is that I think the more complicated the world becomes, the more you need a person.
Sure.
You need to be able to connect with a person to help you guide your learning or find a resource. We listen to troubles and we help you find solutions, but we also, go down these journeys with you. We're curious people too. So
if you want to have something valuable in your pocket, get a library card.
Mm-hmm.
Public libraries are a uniquely American creation. No other nation has such a deep and profound connection to public libraries. No other place on earth has a library in every town and in every neighborhood. Strong libraries make for strong communities. And you can tell a lot about a community from the way that they treat their libraries. Library workers are intellectual first responders. They're always ready and willing to address your questions, find your answers, and protect your privacy along the way. No matter where your curiosity or life leads you, they are there to help you find the resources and information you need. Welcome to Marion Voices, a production of the Marion Forum Group. I'm your host, Bob Raymer, and today's episode will help inform listeners about the contributions that our public libraries make to our community. We will talk to a librarian from the Marion County Public Library System to get some perspectives and some information on their activities. Let me introduce Marion County Public Library System's Assistant Head Librarian, Lee Schwartz. Lee Schwartz has worked at the Marion County Public Library System for 17 years. He began his journey at the headquarters Ocala location as a Public Services Librarian 1 in the Information Service Division. After receiving an MLIS from Florida State University in 2011, he has held several positions within the Marion County Public Library System and is currently the Assistant Library Director. Lee considers serving the community through the public library a great privilege and honor. He knows the role that public libraries play in fostering literacy, supporting learning, and connecting communities. He and his wife, Nikki, have two beautiful children and are grateful to have made Marion County their home. Lee enjoys a well-told story and is addicted to pickleball.
That's true. All true.
Lee Schwartz, thank you for joining us today.
Bob, thank you so much for having us. Yeah, thanks for having me.
What would you like to add to that? That was just a little taste of what we're going to deal with today.
So many things come to mind after your long introduction there, but it was beautiful introduction. It made me think of so many great people that I've worked with that have instilled in me what public libraries mean. I don't think I really truly realized it until I worked in the public library. Patsy Marcy, who was our former assistant library director, used to say, public libraries are the bedrock of democracy. And America is fortunate to have such a history with public libraries. And in this area in particular, I spent 10 years of my career at the Bellevue Public Library, which was the second oldest and continuous operation public library in the state of Florida. So the tradition of public libraries in Marion County and Ocala, it goes way, way back. So,
it's historic.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And everything you said there is right on the money. Just to think about how fortunate we are to serve people, to make a difference in people's lives and to answer their questions, meet their information needs. It's the quality of life, why we live. It's just a great thing to be a connector of people and information. And that's what libraries represent, all those great things. So it's a pleasure to be with you today and to talk about that a little more in depth. So
and we've got some groundwork to cover too, because I know you've already shared with me sort of a mission statement that the Marion County Public Library System has. And that's basically read, learn, and connect. And I'd just like to kind of have you embellish that a little bit.
Sure. Let's explore those. And honestly, that's the way I keep it in my mind. It's the easiest way to explain to people what libraries do. So read and fostering that love of reading. I know it from my own life. I know it from my children's life, that if you can instill that love of reading, that you can go anywhere in the world that you want. You can explore any idea, any course of learning. any just, I don't know, experience through reading. Marion County Public Library, I don't know if we'll talk about it today, but we have something called Born to Read and Ready to Read. So
let's talk about that.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Wherever these things go. It probably is over 20 years old at this point, but it started with an LSTA grant. And this program ensures that every child that's born in Marion County gets a Born to Read bag. And so this tote inside will have all the amazing information for parents, why reading is important, the milestones you should look for, how to encourage children to read. Children get a book out of the process, a board book, their very first book. It's called My First Book. And it was at the time when my children were born 20 years ago, given out in the hospital by the nurses. And that is not really functional way to distribute materials all the time because boy, do nurses have a lot to do at that moment. So we do give them away many different ways, but definitely inside our libraries and at outreaches to children. And so it's fascinating to see that over time we will give this tote out to a newborn baby, and then 15 years later, you'll see we have pictures in our Words magazine or online of where that child still uses that same tote bag. So you can see the encouragement to read really has an effect, and over time, you can see it come to fruition because, I don't know, the longer you spend in the libraries, the more you see it change lives by kids learning to read and growing and story times and all that. And then they come back doing their projects. Then they become volunteers, and then they go off to college or whatever they happen to do. I mean,
well, it's the arc of their life, really. And I'll be honest with you, I had no idea that there was such a program. Mm-hmm. I'm aware that in different locations, there is a process to try and get information to new parents.
Yes,
and certainly children is a high emphasis with libraries. But that particular program is that unique? Is that something that
I know we've won awards in Florida for that specific program.
Yeah.
I believe there's other ones for sure. I mean, because it's not one thing I know about librarians, we love to share ideas and we also take from each other relentlessly because if something works, you don't want to have to reinvent it. So that is one thing that we're very proud of, but it's one of many. If you keep going on that same course, we make sure that there's people reading to children in every Head Start classroom. And so we call it Library Express, and it's a volunteer-driven program. So if you're interested in volunteering and you want to read to children, which is often something that people want to do, because honestly, I miss having little children myself and I love doing it. So I get to have that fun. But if you wanted to go into Head Start classrooms in Marion County, we provide training and kits. And so every month you come up and you pick up your books and you get ready and you learn how to present if you don't feel comfortable doing it. And you go to Head Start classrooms and do that. So here's just another way that we want to make sure that children are being read to, that we're modeling how to read and learning about all those things. So even pre-literacy skills are being taught to children who can't necessarily read right from the get-go. So
I'm already identifying the fact that the library system as a resource has identified another incredible resource, our children.
Yes.
And putting time, energy, and support into these things. From your listing here, including the Born to Read and Ready to Read initiative, the Kindergarten Readiness Program.
Yes.
Which I'll take the liberty to just read it for you.
Okay.
To help prepare children for what they will be expected of them when they arrive their first day at school. This is serious support.
It sure is. Yeah, we started that. We have 9 locations, and we will have a 10th by the end of this year. But in every location, we have these kindergarten readiness programs. So we have regular story times and do all those different things. But when a child's getting ready for school, to take some of that, I don't know, that anxiousness that might be happening, you're coming into kindergarten, you're going to get your name tag, here's how you go through the lunch line, here's the different things you might, and we have all these practices, these fun interactions for parents and children to go through together. So things won't be as scary and you get to learn about the world that way. So anytime you can bring the world to a child in a nice, safe environment. And libraries do that in many different ways. And I'm sure we'll talk about summer programs because that's a lot of fun stuff too, just to expand people's horizons. I mean, those interactions are amazing. The programming is amazing. So,
well, one of the takeaways I have already and in prepping with this with you was that for people that think that libraries are simply checking books and videos out, they sometimes have no idea of the other valuable in-services that are offered. And honestly, this is the scope just continues to broaden. And I would say that as we get into our discussion today, now more than ever, we may be able to identify things that people have no idea about and should know and should be using. So again, you were talking about book clubs and Marion County Reads. Just one more that surprised me: the Born Learning Trails that are interactive outdoor spaces encouraging early literacy development through groupings of signs and symbols.
Yeah.
Any
Sure.
comment on that?
One thing I didn't say is we like 3-letter phrases. So read, learn, connect, but read, sing, talk
Gotcha.
is what we love to do too. So anything to promote children reading, singing, and talking. I mean, that is like when you're going to the grocery store, that's what you should be doing with your child. And that is also these Born Learning Trails are great outdoor spaces, colorful, inventive, where they're learning numbers and colors and shapes and animals and all these different things. And it's a partnership with Success by Six, United Way. And they are at our libraries in different locations. And there are some at like Cohadjo Park as well. But it's just a great way to keep literacy top of mind in a fun way. And it's really a great break for me because every time I'm walking by one of those trails, there's a child playing on it, saying, A, B, C, D, and then, or counting how many ducks do you see, and look what color is that frog, and all those different things. So, yeah, they're charming. We had it maybe 10 years ago on the cover of our magazine with 3 kids from a story time that just met that day and said, would you mind doing a real quick photo shoot on this trail? Sure. And they had so much fun. And I just recently was talking to one of the parents and said, I'd like to recreate that cover now because now they're teenagers.
Oh, that's funny.
Can we get some 15-year-old kids to recreate this thing? And I would be interested to see, these are going to be regular library using kids, how they grew up. And I think it's a huge impact on their life. And it could start as simple as that Born Learning Trail. Just a great memory, a great place to go back to, and I don't know, to learn something and have fun with your parents or your friends or whoever that is, Yeah,
build on those memories and build on those experiences. And let me just take a brief minute to preface that there's a lot of information we're going to be sharing today.
Yes.
And all of this, in some way, shape, or manner, can be found at the Marion County Public Library website.
Right.
And at some point, we will introduce that website and ways of contacting the library there.
Look down in the show notes.
Yeah, exactly. But for those that say, well, we're getting a big dose, we will try to parse this for some highlights, and then if you want to explore further, we'll give you the opportunity through the resources there. That was a pretty nice overview of the Marion County Public System Read section.
Right.
Would you like to talk a little bit about the learning?
Sure. Well, I will say about learning, we are a resource for people no matter what curiosity they have, what they want to pursue, whether that be formal education. So we have a number of students, obviously, from the youngest of age to older students who are utilizing the public library in different ways to get a formal education. But that's the tip of the iceberg because libraries are there no matter what you want to do. So, I have a curiosity. I want to explore it. Libraries have always been the place that you go to get information, good quality information, whether that now is in print or digital or so on. We have a number of databases and things like that as well. So not only that, we're a connecting place where people come together to learn and grow together. So that happens. So I'm kind of skipping ahead to connect, but
go ahead.
The thing about Read, Learn, Connect is they interlock so well that it's hard to separate them in my mind. But career development, I guess, would be another key point to learning. So, and we have databases and books and job fairs and things like that, but where people maybe want to switch careers. Myself, I was not a librarian 17 years ago. Well, I happened to go to a story time with my children and thought, I'm inspired and I want to do this. That's how I got there. But when I wanted to pursue that education, I needed to use resources to find out how to be successful. And that is true of someone who wants to become, I don't know, a security guard or a hairdresser or anything. It doesn't matter.
Entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur for sure. Yeah, we have a number of businesses that started in the library. I remember when I was actually working on the information services desk as a librarian, I would have a real opportunity to interact with a number of people that were starting businesses and changing their life that way. So yeah, it's very, I don't know, gratifying to be part of that process. So when someone comes in, I have this idea that I want to, maybe make it a career, or maybe I have this art project. I remember there's a well-known artist in the area that needed research help, and I helped him with that. And so whatever that learning is that you need, we want to be there to assist. And sometimes this is a very common thing people ask librarians, why do we need libraries when we have Google? That's a very common thing that happens. So go ahead and ask it if you want. But the fact is that I think the more complicated the world becomes, the more you need a person.
Sure.
You need to be able to connect with a person to help you guide your learning or find a resource and just be with, to do that. So librarians are great ears. We're like bartenders without the bar. We listen to troubles and we help you find solutions. But we also, just go down these journeys with you. We're curious people too. So,
well, let me give you a quote that you can mull on.
Okay.
They say that a librarian is a powerful search engine with a heart.
Yes.
And I think that's a great quote because that's exactly what you're emphasizing here, that the capacity for a human to understand what you're looking for, to guide you, aside from, we've had previous discussions in some of our voice podcasts about AI.
Yes.
And we certainly will be using that more and more. I've actually had conversations with librarians in the system about AI and its potential. And it's a tool.
It is.
But it's not a librarian.
Right.
And it's not the capacity that librarians bring as professional library scientists. So very keen on that.
Yeah, tools change for sure.
Yeah.
And we have to adapt and change. We have to be able to do that. But the mission of what we're doing, the purpose of why we're here doesn't change. So we have to become experts in different things to be able to help people.
Well, you surf the crest of technology, to be honest.
Well, I will say every one of our library locations, in addition to any time of day you walk in there, we have specific set-aside times for technology help.
Yeah.
So, when people might go to, say, like a Best Buy or something, because they don't know how to make their phone work, we're there to help them too. So we help people with all kinds of technology questions. And honestly, even just to download books. We have downloadable books, audiobooks, all those things. And you should use your library card instead of spending all that money because they're your books. Use them. But to get people to use their devices, and those devices change every day. The applications change a little bit every day. So we have to stay current on all that information. Yeah. And we put our best people in those technology help centers because they are the best people. And then we also get to learn from each other. So it's a challenge every day.
Yeah, all you have to do is go through the door and ideally sign up, get your card, and begin.
Yes.
I'm going to circle back on the learning a little bit, just because, again, the mission statement under Learn also talks about your relationships with Marion County Genealogical Society.
Yes.
Setting up the tech hubs, the Biblio Board, and the Indie Author Project.
Yes, yeah.
Do you want to mention that a little bit?
Sure. We're very excited about this. And so Biblio Board is a gosh, I can't think of what the name of that would be called. Biblio Board is not a database. It's a place where we house books, electronic books that are self-published across the state.
I didn't know.
Yeah, or across the United States, really. But as a Marion County resident with your library card, you can download and have free access to all of these books. And through Biblio Board, there's many different aspects to it, but one of them is something called press books, where we can help people publish their own materials. And so you just mentioned genealogy, and I'll give an example of that because this is, I think, a fascinating application of Biblio Board. People often gather great information about their family research, and we help them do that. They have photos, they have information, all this, and they want to. Maybe the audience may not be big. Maybe I want to write this book for my family. I just want to pass it down, but my dad is a genealogist, so believe me, there is in his garage files and files and files of things. But if you can, and people are doing this right now, making their own family history books. And so it could be chapters including photographs, things like that. This software will help you format it properly, make it look amazing and exceptional, and it's free with your library card. Then you can self-publish your own book. You own the rights to all your material. You can choose to put it up on BiblioBoard and let other people see it. You can also just share it with your family, however you want to do that. And that is an example of how that would be used. So I have a family that's all spread out. My sisters live across the globe. Everyone's spread out. So if I wrote a book like this and I wanted to share it, I would want them to be able to see it, and they can access it that way. And this book then can be preserved and kept in the library in a way that we would never be able to do that because we don't have the room for print material that way. And in addition, you wouldn't be able to maybe afford to publish something in library standards to be able to stand up to the rigor of it all.
Yeah.
So this is a great way for people to publish their own work and then put it out there. Now, like say you write fiction or nonfiction, you can publish your own materials that way. You can put it through BiblioBoard, and then people can access it around the state. It gets reviewed, and at the top 10% based on quality of book and all those different criteria, then can be eligible to be downloaded, and you can actually make money off your own book. So, I mean,
this is incredible.
It's a really low barrier of entry for people who just want to write their own book. And everybody likes writing books now, but sometimes it's not as cost effective as you might imagine. Now, I do say that, but we also have a number of writing groups that meet in the libraries. And so this is a great way if you're a brand new writer to say, like, I want to join one of these writing groups, and then I can put out my material this way. So that's always a challenge.
It's a support group as well as not only encouragement, but it kind of puts you on the ticker to get things done.
Well, accountability is important because, it's a project like writing a book is not easy, and you need somebody to motivate you and lots of coffee.
An author is a solitary creature.
It really is.
But I had no idea about that. And I thank you for that because I can only imagine that and I presume you can go in and talk to any librarian.
Any librarian,
they'll direct you to more information.
Probably better than I would,
And nonetheless, the seed is planted, if you will.
Well, we presented at a genealogy conference in Marion County probably in the last couple of months. I can't remember exactly. Sure. But and the audience there was so receptive and so excited. So I know people are already doing it based just on that one presentation. Yeah. So that is the crazy thing about working in a library is no matter where I go, when we have something, we talk about it. People say, I never knew that. How does the library do that? Or that's amazing. Now I'm going to download audiobooks from you rather than do it that way. And this is so much better. But we can never get the story out enough because this morning I read a quote. It was from the 1958. We were talking a little bit about it off air, but 1958 is when National Library Week started.
Which is as of this week, April 6th through the 12th.
Yes.
National Library Week.
Good job. Yes. I pay you every time you say that.
Thank you.
Okay. But 1958 is when it started, and they had an article called Beating the Drum, and it was to tell people about all the amazing things that were at libraries, and we have to do a better job of that. And that is a challenge. I mean, it's a challenge every day because not only do we do amazing things and have done them since 1958, but we've done so many more things and we add them every day because we have to meet the changing needs and growth and all those things. So,
and technology is pushing the change.
Sure.
So you can only respond and
but just getting the word out. And so thank you again for this audience. Just get the word out to one person. We'll make it to two people and so on. It's exponential how that works, so that's good.
If you're listening, you can access the library.
And tell two people.
And that's right, and tell two people. I'm going to jump one more time back to the access to the right service at the right time resource. I don't know anything about that, and I'd love to hear a little bit more.
Sure. So you may be familiar with 211 through the United Way. Some people are. In order to connect people in a time of need and stress, in particular, with the resources they need to go through life. So, commonly in a library, someone will come in with an issue. Let's say they don't have access to food, or they are in a in-between housing situation.
Yeah.
Those are difficult reference questions, but they happen every day in a library, in addition to all the fun ones, like what should I read next?
Sure.
But how to get people the resources they need to make their life possible. Libraries have always been connecting people with that. And one of the resources that you might be familiar with is the 211, which is United Way, where they had the idea to put a lot of the resources in one spot, so you don't have to keep searching all over. Well, in 2011, Orange County received a grant. Orange County Library System, Public Library System, received a grant to have librarians do something similar to take Florida county by county and find the resources in the geographical area. And their idea was that it would spread county to county to county, and the librarians in those different areas would then pick up the mantle, make sure the information is good, and find the resources that. It's a huge job. Just to find out what happens in a square mile of here is difficult. So how do we get the word out that, oh, this person does this one thing that could help this one person at this one time? And so in particular, in the last year, Marion County has, the Marion County Public Library System, rather, and a number of people on our team and a growing number of volunteers are working to, one, go through all the information that was on there, because that is a huge undertaking.
Sure.
To say, like, okay, there's 1,000 listings. Is this information correct? Are they open at Wednesdays? Are they still providing this? Whatever. So we have a regular system in place to review all that information to make sure it's current and up to date in the geographic area of Marion County under all these different subjects, shelter, food, whatever. And then to add the resources that we find out about. And now that we've been doing it really in the last year very actively, we're adding probably, I don't know, a month, 30 or 40 a month of new resources. Yeah. So now anybody who comes into the library or accesses this Right Service, Right Time, you can do it through our library website. It's up in one of the headings under Right Service, Right Time, and under Services. You can do it from home or any computer, a library computer, or you can ask a librarian and we can help you find that information, or you can call the library. Sure. You know, some people don't have access to the internet, and so we want to be able to make it service available. So I'm very proud because 211 in the next year is going to be going away probably by this summer. Yeah. United Way will no longer have that service, and so we are prepared to jump into that gap that's needed to serve people, to make that safety net available. And I mean, that's the one great thing about Marion County as a community, because there are people who want to help and give help. And make life pleasant for everybody. So, but how do you get the need met with the information? And so that's kind of where the library is the perfect partner for this. So we are just making sure the information is available, the right service at the right time for the person who needs it. Yeah,
it's amazing. It's all under one umbrella, and the library is assuming these a capacity to serve the community like this. Most people, I don't think, would have any clue of that unless they actually made use of those services. Yeah.
Well, it's fun to be a librarian because, wow, every day is different. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you know something's going to be amazing fun, like when you do a storytelling event or something. Sure. Like, those are great. You know that will be fun. But the opportunities to really make a difference, and there is not a librarian you couldn't ask a personal story about that really changed for them. Like, I don't know, it's the most rewarding thing I ever thought. And I never thought I would be a librarian growing up. You know, I was not a great student, I would say. I was a bit of trouble, but yeah, it's kind of the perfect balance of learning, curiosity, and helping. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah, well, it's a hands-on thing. And libraries are impactful.
For sure.
For everyone.
Yeah.
I'm going to trouble you one more time to go into the last segment, just so we can kind of touch on it a little bit, and that's the connect, because I know I've got the list here, and let me just give you some of those opportunities that you're talking about. The summer break spot, in partnership with the USDA and Shores Assembly of God, to provide free hot meals to children during the summer months. That's a big connect.
Yeah, for sure. We every year, for over 10 years now, have served hot meals to children in our libraries all summer long. So when school's not in session, if you're under 18 years of age, you can get a free hot meal at a library in Marion County. Not every location, because some are covered in different ways. So, like, for instance, the Sankofa West Ocala Library doesn't serve a meal because there's a meal being served already there
Right.
in that neighborhood. But this church, first I got to say, this Shores Assembly of God is an amazing church because when you go there, it seems like there's just a handful of people that work this program, yet they serve thousands and thousands and thousands of meals every day. In every one of our libraries, we take this very seriously. We have a training before the summer starts. And I will say we have been recognized, or the church has been recognized rather, for this partnership at the state level, because we're one of the most exceptional marriages that make this happen.
Yeah.
Because one, they provide excellent food. It's a protein and vegetable and all
A healthy meal,
and milk,
and a complete meal in a
and
sense.
so good. Like I'm telling you, so we work very hard to make sure we try to calculate the number of meals that are being served, and we don't waste anything. And they're very good about all that stuff. But and so we'll serve, like, say, 100 children a meal, and that's free to the child and to the family. And we'll have families that go library to library to library all summer long. Because one thing is, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. You get to bring your family, you get to usually have interaction that would be a special visitor, like sometimes we have a zoologist or something bring animals. Then we do stories and we sing and we do crafts and all those things. So it's a great experience for the family. They get to check out materials, and then they all get to eat together. And it's not just them, it's other families, other children, all eating together. So there is a huge need, as you know, in our community. There's a number of people that don't get proper nutrition, and it's difficult. And this is a way for there to be nothing but great fun and excitement attached to getting a meal. And yeah, sharing a meal with your neighbor is a great thing too. And you see friendships develop over the summer. Now, this meal couldn't be possible, one, without the Shores Church doing that and the USDA funding, but also the volunteers that make it possible.
Of course.
We have hundreds of volunteers, in particular in the summer, just dedicated to making this happen. So staff and volunteers work together. We're getting ready to have in May our training for it. There'll probably be 150 people at that live training. We'll, as a courtesy to the church, we film it for them so they can disperse it and use it as their training tape. We do this every year. Mm-hmm. Honestly, the pastor and the people that run it are so good that we try to do as much for them as they can for us, because it just helps that way, you know. But the people that come to serve are, retirees that come out of the neighborhood and get to play lunch person. And then we have teen volunteers that set up the whole dining room system, then break it all down. And then we make sure that if kids can't carry their meal, that there's a volunteer to help them carry it so you don't want them spilling on the carpet, sure. All of those things. And then the church is really an amazing thing, because if there is an adult that can't be fed and they don't have the means, they provide the meal and they pay for that out of their own pocket. We can't document that as a child served meal, but once all the children are served, they all have their chance at seconds, then you can feed hungry people, and they generously support feeding the hungry people that are there.
Spread the resources farther with the least amount of waste.
And now I will tell from personal experience, we've had a number of amazing library volunteers, teens that did not have the ability to probably eat properly. And so what a great thing for them to come to volunteer a day in the library, help be part of that program, and then eat alongside and get that experience. So, I mean, they're learning the skill of working. And honestly, volunteerism is amazing because you get a chance to see generations work together. But in particular with young people, they get an opportunity to work in a professional environment and really have responsibility and take ownership of things. And then they get a meal on top of that. It's like a win-win-win. I mean, it's really amazing.
And you're building community.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I mean, this is key, which is really a major function of the libraries that people don't often appreciate. Yeah,
and in addition to the programs that we do alongside those meals, we have lots of things that we give to children during the summer. Usually there's a summer reading bag, there's summer reading prizes, and all these different things that they do. But there's a number of our friends at the library donate books that we guarantee to give books to children to take home, because children are dependent on people to get them to the library. Absolutely. But that shouldn't be a barrier to reading. So we want to put books in children's hands as much as we can. Mm-hmm. And building your own library at home, that's a really special thing. People take it it for granted. Like my children probably had books to the ceiling, but to have your own place to sleep and your own books to read, that's an important thing for a child to have, to encourage that. So we try to do that as much as we can. We do that through the summer, and I will talk about a program at Reddick called the Reindeer Romp that we do every year. Probably 300 people attend it. Many community groups and partners make it possible, but that's one place where we probably gave away 1,000 books last year over Christmas. And again, this is all donation. It's not like we're not using tax dollars for this. This is just people coming together to give the best of themselves to make a difference. And it all happens because libraries are those places that connect people. I don't know, lots of stories of that. And it's the tip of the iceberg again.
It's the beginning.
Yes.
And it continues.
Yeah.
I've been speaking with Marion County Library System librarian Lee Schwartz. We're talking about the many services and resources that are provided by our local libraries. We would like to hear your thoughts, comments, and ideas on this topic. Go to our email address at marionforumgroup, that's one phrase, @gmail.com, and share your comments with us. Yours may be one of the voices incorporated in our next Public Services episode. Another part of what makes the library a community resource to be sustained is volunteerism.
Yes.
And in particular, support, financial and otherwise, through the Friends of the Public Library. The Friends of the Library is a nonprofit organizations that support individual Marion County libraries. Can you give me a little background on that?
Sure. So there are a number of Friends of the Library groups in Marion County. So there's the Friends of the Ocala Public Library, and they support not only the Ocala headquarters location, but the Sankofa Public Library, which is West Ocala, the Reddick Public Library, the Fort McCoy Public Library, and the soon to be announced library serving the Silver Spring Shores area. So that will be 5 of our libraries will be supported by the Friends of the Ocala Public Library. The other libraries individually have their own friends groups. So the Friends of the Forest Public Library, the Friends of the Bellevue Public Library, the Friends of the Dunellen Public Library, the Friends of the Freedom Public Library, and the Friends of the Marion Oaks Public Library. All of those libraries have their own individual groups, but also those friends groups collectively work together in something called the Friends Council. So that's kind of the apparatus of how friends groups work. One thing you know about libraries is they only function properly because the community is so involved in them, and this is the great way for that to happen. Friends of the Library support, of course, how you said, is financial, and in the past, in most ways that people know friends groups, the majority of their funds are raised through book sales, as is, kind of hits the theme of what libraries are. So when libraries library books are no longer to be used in the library and they're withdrawn properly, Friends of the Libraries are allowed to sell them. In addition, they also take donations of books I will say we take donations of books as well at the library. So if you had a book, like say it's a brand new, beautiful, never been used book that's a popular title, we would add it to our library to save the taxpayer dollars rather than buy it. So
that's great to know.
So please bring your books to the library. But what will happen often is people will say, I have a number of books, I have boxes of them, and they're not really in the condition that we would put on the shelf as a brand new book. That is a great thing because we take that to our Friends of the Library groups no matter where you are. So if you're in Dunellen, you'll go to the Dunellen Library Friends and so on. And they will take those books and the conditioned ones, they separate it out. They have bookstores, they have sales, and they sell those books. And all those funds and those proceeds go to support the library in different ways. Some of those proceeds go to buy more materials. So materials, books, CDs, that type of thing. Some of them go to buy even electronic books. The Friends really gave the funding to help us start our electronic book collection when we needed the money and we didn't have it in our budget. So they made that happen. But I will say, we had this Words magazine. This was 100% paid for by Friends funds. The digital and the print version is. And all the programming that is involved in there could not be possible without the support of the Ocala Friends of the Public Library or any of the other locations because, to bring in a puppeteer or a singer or whatever it would be, we need to have funds to do that. We do not use tax dollars to do that. We use Friends of the Library funds to do that. So even the refreshments at different events, that has to be Friends of the Library money that's spent rather than tax dollars. So we're very conscious of the way we spend money. And so that is just one little way that their money is used. Other ways would be lots of equipment that we couldn't buy otherwise. When the pandemic hit, we had to talk about how can we reach out to people. We weren't prepared to have digital, all those things. So we bought cameras, we bought lights, we did those things. That started with the Friends. Often, like the Born to Read, Ready to Read, the Born to Read bags were started with grant funding, but the Friends pay for it now. So that isn't really coming out of tax dollars anyhow. It's again coming from grant funds to start and Friends to pick it up. So, many things they do. One of the things that you may not know is that Friends of the Library, one of the things that makes Marion County exceptional is that the way they support education. So system-wide, we have something called the Patsy Mills Marcy tuition reimbursement program. That's through the Friends groups. They raise funds to support academically library staff as they attain degrees. So you can start the library out of high school as a circulation assistant to become someone on the service floor, a PSA. You have to have a 2-year degree to be a librarian 1, which I started as. You have to have a 4-year degree to be a professional librarian, a master's degree, and so on. Well, it's difficult to manage life and school and all those things on the salary of a librarian. So the Friends reimburse rather, only if you get A's and B's, but they reimburse half tuition per person. And that has really helped us as a library system build people that are connected into the community that want to be in Marion County to become professionals. And so everyone has the challenge of getting professional help in libraries and in lots of other professions. But one of the ways we overcome that is the support of the Friends helps us grow our own people to be the best they can be. So
it's a career path from the grassroots.
It really is. It really is. And it is because many of the people in the Friends recognize that is a very impactful way they can make a difference. And it is true because we don't have a number of open positions, especially at the librarian 1 and down level.
Yeah.
And if you want to start in Marion County, you get in on the floor and then the Friends usually build you up. So, but that's just, again, a little thing that they do. Other than that, the Friends are great advocates for library services. And you probably ran into a few of them, but not just out in the community telling you all the amazing things libraries do. That's one thing Friends do. They're the biggest fans of libraries. And so just having them telling people what we do is important. But then also at times when decisions have to be made by politicians, they're the ones saying, hey, these are important and let me tell you why. So they're really the voice of people. And they really are about organization and collaboration to make the most of all our efforts together. So yeah, they're important. So advocating and funds, those are some of the important ways that Friends help. But yeah.
Well, let me make full disclosure here. Okay?
You're a friend?
I'm doing a little shout out here.
Yeah, all right.
For the Friends of the Freedom Library. And I'd like to read a little quote from Florence Pritchard.
She got to you. Florence Pritchard got to you.
She gets to everyone.
Yes, she does.
As she had previously written, we are an independent, nonprofit 501c3 charity, and members are not library staff. We are an all-volunteer support group that sells used, donated books to help fund library programs and services, and to help equip the library building expansion when it occurs. The Friends' purpose is to raise money to help support services, programs, and facilities. And I can't endorse that enough. So this is a shout-out to the Friends of the Freedom Library on behalf of all the Friends of Libraries.
Great friends, yeah.
Because if you want to help the library, if you want to grow the library, and if you want to support the services it provides to the community, this is one way to do it. And it's the most important way.
It sure is.
You're building on the people that live here.
Yeah.
I did want to ask, too, about corporate donations and funding. What kind of revenue stream can be derived from that at this point? I can only imagine it's...
So the Friends
you apply for grants and foundations,
right? For sure. The Friends themselves, though, are very able to chase down different funding streams and to look for corporate donations and things like that. Yeah. We have partnered at different times for different grants for various things. So. Yeah, I will say I was just in my mind a little bit about and when I was at the Bellevue Library and we wanted to get a wildflower garden off the ground.
Right.
That we used the Friends wrote a grant for us for the Florida Wildflower Foundation to provide funds to make that happen. In addition to local businesses, dirt cheap out there,
Right,
different things they came through and made that happen. And then so it's interesting how things fall together, but it is the partnerships of friends groups, of corporations, of local businesses or just nonprofits that make it happen. That garden now behind the Bellevue Library is being maintained by Kenny's Place Nursery, which is another great local nonprofit. So,
that's the key I'm getting. It's not so much going for the large national foundations and grants. This is local. Yeah. This is independent businesses. This is small business. And this is Marion County. Yeah, it really is. I mean, Florence is a hero of mine and many. We named the meeting room after her,
Exactly. which just didn't come easy because she recognizes the power of combining people's efforts. You know, freedom is an expanding area of our county, and there's so many people that want to give back. And this is the way that they can do it. So we're talking about freedom. We might as well talk about the expansion.
This is the chance.
Yeah.
Please do.
Okay, so in, is it 2000 when it was built? The original Freedom Library was a little over 8,000 square feet. And at the time, it was too small. You know, we knew it was too small, but that at the time was all that the library system could afford within budget to make that happen. But clever as Julie Sieg is and all those people that make those decisions, they built the library with the idea to expand it, knowing that it's going to come. And as soon as the funds were available, we could do that. So flash forward to now, the library is now being expanded. It's going from a little over 8,000 to 32,000 square feet. So it will be a brand new, beautiful building. And then they're going to remodel the existing library. And by the end of this year, phase 1 will be done. And in the spring, it will all be done. Included in that, the Friends of the Library at Freedom are going to help support many of the furnishings because, again, the budget of everything, it always goes up to make that happen. So in order to open that building and have people be able to sit somewhere, to have shelves, to put on books on, those types of things, the Friends will be invaluable in making that happen. Inside of that library, there will be a Friends of the Library bookstore like there is here at the headquarters Ocala Library because, people love to come and to work and to be in a bookstore. Sure. The Friends of the Freedom Library are exceptional in the fact that they sell so many books out of this little space in the lobby. It doesn't even make sense that they can do what they do. And same with the Forest Friends too. They have a little bookstore inside the lobby. It really is exceptional. The Friends of Bellevue Library have their own standalone bookstore, and Donnell and Friends have a little bookstore also inside the library. But yeah, it's amazing what committed people can do and make a difference. I don't know what else to say except I'm always amazed by them and thankful for them. And
trying to keep ahead of the expansion of community needs, not just for books and digital data, but for the services again, too. Yeah. I mentioned in passing. Go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, you're making me think about what people may not know about libraries, but many do, is that, when you get your library card, we try to register people to vote. So we do that all the time, every library location. Many of our library locations are early voting sites, Freedom being one of them. We know because the parking is always a mess, but now we'll have a bigger parking lot. So, but when I was at Bellevue Library before they opened the one voting location in the Villages, like a quarter of all early voting votes went through just that Bellevue Library. So we know libraries are important just to the democratic process. Sure. We're also spaces where people are often using to get signatures to get things onto the ballots and or to run for office or all those different things. So we are part of the democratic process and we're essential to doing that. Marion County is a large area. So how do you get people to do that? Libraries are a great way. And we often find our partners utilizing the library to connect with people, whether that's the hospital district or health department or whatever, because we are in places where people are, and we are places where people already are coming. So we want to keep that connection going. So anyway, that's fun. I have one anecdote because as a patron of the Freedom Library, I arrived there several weeks ago, maybe 2 months. And the parking lot was full. I mean, it was overflowing, the small parking lot that they have. People were lined outside of the door. They were lined
Oh,
into
I know.
the parking
I know
lot.
why.
You know where it's coming?
Yes.
And I said, perhaps they're giving away money today.
Yeah, I wish.
So I said, hopefully I can get in there.
Yeah, I'm getting in line. Yeah.
And I didn't get in line because I said, whatever it is, I'm just returning books. And I got inside and I talked to one of the librarians and I said, what's going on here? And she said, well, they're signing up for Shine. And for those that don't know what Shine is, Lee,
yeah. Yeah, it's
program at the library.
Yes, and now you're going to make me say the acronym. It's,
Well, I won't make you say what the acronym means. The simple point is that this is free tax assistance.
Yes.
And is it specifically for the elderly?
So, well, there's Shine and there's also AARP.
Correct.
And all those things. So tax help at many library locations, and if it's not at the library, usually the library is the place where you sign up for services like that.
Yeah.
It has been going on for years and years and years. And so we at libraries, we have always had tax forms and those types of things. So it's a natural fit to have those services available.
Let them know that tax season is upon us. So if you're looking for the forms, unfortunately, I think Shine is over for the season.
Yeah.
But there are other services. That
we will help you find those services for sure. And Shine is actually helping people get proper insurance too, to do that as well.
I stand corrected. It's not simply tax.
Yeah, AARP is usually the tax help that you're talking about at Freedom.
Thank you for correcting.
And there will be lines out the door, and when they know for like a month ahead, people call and say, "When is the appointment book coming? When is it coming?"
Right.
And that day that appointment book comes, it is like the Beatles are in town.
That's right.
You can't stop it. But that's at every location, and honestly, some days in the library, you'll see like there'll be a crowd of 30 or 40 people waiting to get in, and this is just a normal day.
Sure.
So you put tax season on top of that, it's just incredible because story times are always at 10:30 or so, and so families are gathering.
The synergy.
Yeah, it's really something.
But just to correct myself, the Shine is for obtaining health insurance coverage.
Yeah. It's
in various forms, or what you're best qualified for.
Right, exactly right. So, and that is for elderly, but AARP tax help is for anybody. And but
Good point.
And there is the free tax aid site, and you can look that up. But honestly, call a librarian. We'll tell you where there's tax help available. And we communicate so well with each other. We know, like, you're at Freedom Library. There's no appointments left available there. You can go to Bellevue or you can go to Dunellen, and we know where those are. So during tax season, we're experts, and we communicate every day about that information because it's so top of mind, and people are beating down the doors to get that help. So,
just one other thing I wanted to mention in terms of the physical facility of a library and its value to the fact that we are now facing increasingly hotter temperatures, and Florida's climate is severe, particularly in the summer, and that's another benefit of the library as a cooling station.
Yeah, for sure.
For people in general, I think it's going to become more valuable and more significant over time.
Yeah.
And I don't know what other services that may start to be incorporated with that. But
well, they are great physical spaces. Like the Freedom Library, when the expansion comes. Well, let me just say, all libraries now, air conditioning is nice. Wi-Fi is nice. Those things to use are nice. We do check out for students hotspots and Chromebooks if they need them for their school. But that new Freedom expansion will have a number of study rooms. We already have a meeting room there.
Yeah.
We're having a larger meeting room in that space, and of course, the public can use those spaces. It's their rooms. There's different requirements if you're using it for different purposes, but the study rooms themselves, there'll be a number of larger conference room type ones and smaller ones as well. So even maybe setting up for the future of telemedicine, or whether that's all those different things.
That's intriguing.
Yeah.
Teleconferencing, but at the very least, telemedicine.
Yeah.
We're on the cusp of having a place where people can go that is prepared to do that.
Yeah. When we're designing the expansion, we're thinking about how can this change in the future? What we might need to do to serve people, and really making the spaces as flexible as possible. Sure. So a lot of our areas in this new building space will have shelving that is on casters, so you can get it and move it and change it and use the space differently.
We configure it as you need it.
Yeah. What you find out is over time that the way we use the building might be different than the way we thought we would use the building.
Sure.
Because things change. It used to be that Wi-Fi wasn't a thing. Now Wi-Fi is a thing, and so now the tethered computers aren't as used as much as they used to be because everybody has devices, but they still need that Wi-Fi. And so we have Wi-Fi on 24 hours a day at our location so people can tap into it. You see sometimes you go by a library at 3 in the morning, there's people on the porch.
That's amazing.
Doing stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So it's really an amazing spot for that. But we want people to use these library spaces. We want them to, like, you have a book club of your own. You have a business group of some kind. You have a homeowners association. We have them all the time in the library. So all those kind of groups that need to meet and use spaces, this is a public spot where they can do that. And why not? I mean, that's what we're there for. So yeah, and it's free. So
our Marion County public libraries are a vital part of our community, and our citizens are working to ensure that they remain open, free, and beneficial to all. Mm-hmm. What do you think? We want to hear from you. Go to our YouTube channel, Marion Forum Group, to leave a comment or an idea or share it with someone. You can also leave a message at Marion Forum Group, that's one phrase, @gmail.com. We would like to incorporate your comments and views in subsequent episodes. We'll do our best that we can to respond to them in future podcasts. Lee, I'd like to have a little fun now.
Okay.
I'd like to talk a lot.
Oh, great.
Now, when I say lot, I don't mean lots. I mean library of things.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Tell me what the concept of library of things are, and then we'll embellish that a little.
All right, sounds good. So library of things. Well, as a concept, libraries are known for checking in and out books typically, but that also is other formats of books, audiobooks, so on. But a library of things is checking out things other than books. And we do have some of those things, and we're expanding that collection. I'd like to hear where your research went, but I've been in other library systems where they have an amazing library of things where people check out tools they might need, check out karaoke machines, check out weed whackers, check out whatever, fly fishing rods, ukuleles, you name it. I've seen many, many, many things. Now, in our library, we already talked briefly about it. We check out hotspots and Chromebooks. That's something that might be different than people would imagine libraries do. We will be very soon with partnership with the American Heart Association checking out blood pressure cuffs. Mm-hmm. So people can check out blood pressure cuffs, take their blood pressure, and get all the information to live a healthy life that way. We also, in less than a month, I think April 19th, I'd have to check, whatever that Saturday is, April 19th or 17th, we're opening our seed library, where people can check out seeds. Now, we don't expect you to return those seeds.
Exactly. Plant them.
Yes, plant them. But be able to check out vegetable seeds and fruit seeds and ornamental plants and herbs and wildflowers. So those 5 major categories, but we have, I think, probably 250 varieties already. And it's, again, a lot of partnerships with a lot of people to make that possible. And behind the scenes, wow, amazing work librarians are doing to make this possible, because we want to keep track of the data to see what's circulating, where it's circulating, in order to maybe eventually go after a grant and do those different things to keep the funding alive. And again, it's the support of outside groups and the Friends of the Library that make that possible. So starting April 19th, the headquarters library will have an amazing seed library, and all locations will have some seeds and a catalog of all the other seeds. Mm-hmm. And we have an internal system to make it possible that you can check out any seed and get it delivered to any Marion County library. Because if you live in Reddick, you should be able to get the same service that you get in Dunellen versus wherever. It doesn't matter. Our couriers make that possible with books. They should make it possible with everything. And so we do that too. So
that's fantastic. And it can only grow. And, and I think the point of the little research I did here is to say that if the community wants this to happen, they can. Mm-hmm. If people want to donate and support through the Friends of the Library or through individual donations or through the support of their endorsement of community funds, here's some idea of what you can get in libraries around the country.
All right, let's hear it.
GoPro cameras.
Yes.
Movie projector. Mm-hmm. You've already mentioned Wi-Fi hotspots, tablets and computers, 3D printer or a Glowforge, which is essentially the 3D laser printer and a cutter, a food dehydrator, a DVD converter, a robotically animated cat for elderly social therapy.
Yes.
Now, I think that would be great.
I've heard that in Japan they do that. Yeah.
Why not? Why not here?
Yes.
Maybe dogs, maybe horses.
Goldfish, anything. Anything's possible.
A PA system with speaker and microphones, a karaoke machine. How about a handheld thermal camera, the FLIR, the forward-looking infrared, so you can check for leaks in your house.
Or ghost hunting.
Well, exactly,
Yes.
which is they list here,
okay.
radon kits, cell and laptop chargers, air fryers, portable scanners, graphing calculators, Game Boy, Bluetooth speaker, Arduino coding robotic kits, last but not least, blood pressure monitors.
Yes.
And we haven't even touched the other things such as electronic instruments.
Yes.
Electronic keyboards, guitars, ukulele.
Yeah.
In Alaska, they have snowshoes, tents, and backpacks. Evidently, there's several libraries that do the American Girl doll.
Yeah,
that they start a collection so that they can loan these American Girl doll.
Yeah.
And they're not an inexpensive collector's item, but to be able to share that with the community.
And then when you're done with your American Girl doll, donate it to a library to do this thing, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Boy, do we have too many of those at our house.
Well, there's always a home for them.
Yes.
Electric light therapy boxes for seasonal mental health.
Yeah.
One library has an interactive model of the Titanic. I don't know if they have a large aquarium there or something.
Yes. Yeah.
And artwork, among other things.
Wow.
Just an unbelievable list. I'm not done yet. Okay, I'll keep this quick.
I'm loving this conversation, though. Yeah, possibilities are endless.
And I'm hoping that the viewers would say, "Well, I could donate this if you need it, or I could contribute to it."
Yeah.
How about tackle boxes, fishing rods, and fishing poles, digital microscopes, carpet cleaner, power washer, wire cutters, utility meter readers, drills, saws, orbital sander, tile cutter, air quality monitor, and one that I've had the opportunity to enjoy, museum passes.
Yes.
I don't know if that's coming in the future, but there's a lot of potential. State park passes.
We've had state park passes,
Zoo passes, theater tickets, aquarium passes. And before I overlook this, the actual streaming services that the library provides at the website. I believe it's Canopy.
Canopy, yeah.
And do we have any other ones?
Well, actually, we don't have Canopy currently.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about a cost.
I get that. Sure.
In
essence, the library is paying for a subscription.
Yes.
And they grant that to as they would for newspapers or magazines.
Right. And often it's probably shows that aren't available other places, but now there's a lot available at different places. But as time changed, different things happen. So
and to be economical, if you can get by without it, then we'll wait for that.
Yeah.
Some other ones that I really like, pickleball kit. You should be happy about that.
I'm very happy about that, yeah.
Disc golf kits.
Yes.
Tandem bikes, bicycles, bike locks, and bike repair kits. E-bikes.
For sure. Yeah.
Metal detectors, which I think is great.
That is cool.
And then we're still talking about the maker movement and do-it-yourself.
Yeah.
They actually have some places that have spinning wheels.
Sure, yeah.
Sewing machines.
Yes.
And if you want to have a good time with the karaoke machine, an electric bubble making machine, and commercial grade popcorn makers.
It sounds like a party.
Last but not least, there are libraries that are providing on loan prom dresses and Halloween costumes.
Wow.
Is there anything I've missed?
Yes.
Is there anything the library can't do?
No, I mean that really is just, it shows you the diversity and how if there is a need and people can meet it in a certain way, why not? Why not? And honestly, like if you think, I want to see what this metal detecting is all about, let me try it out. Sure. And then maybe you would eventually get your own or not. It doesn't matter. But yeah, where there is an interest, there should be something available. But yeah, we're exploring all those different issues. Museum passes has always been one that comes up regularly. Like, wouldn't that be amazing? You have people come in from town. You want to show them, hey, let me take you there and so on. So
the possibilities are endless. And if the funding can be found, if the people want it, the library can provide it.
For sure. And, we often do different things, experiment with these. We had 3D printers in multiple of our libraries, but we did it by borrowing them through the Northeast Florida Library Network. So it's a group of libraries in the north of Florida that join together. We're part of that. And they have equipment that we can borrow. And so we borrowed 3D printers and did different things with them and programs with them. And we borrow equipment like that when we know, I don't know if I want to invest in this technology yet, but I want to see if it would
Sure.
work for us. We do that regularly. And so a lot of things that we wouldn't buy for the library, we borrow also from other libraries. Just as if we have a book that you would want, we borrow it from another library and loan it to you, and then you give it back to us and we give it back to them. That's,
Well, it's a sharing community,
Yeah.
and in a sense, it's a sharing economy too.
Oh, for sure.
Because if you can use this to accomplish something, and who wouldn't want to be a part of that?
For sure.
Now more than ever.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. We didn't bring this up, but
Please.
I mentioned you through Biblioboard is we have so many digital collections, then we're going to be growing those in the future. But like historical photos, for instance,
Yeah.
if you go online, we have a number of collections there. In the future with Biblioboard, you can do it the other direction too, where we can ask for submissions. So say we want to do a project, tell us about your memories of Six Gun Territory, let's say,
Okay.
because it's a local thing.
That's great,
And
yeah.
everyone would send their pictures in, and we would build a database of those photos of Six Gun. It would be in a spot where we would have those captured,
Well, that's what I think the listeners, if they're hearing what you're talking about today, would want to initiate, and it's they're waiting for them to do so.
Well, let me say this idea that a librarian has. His name's Joey Hall, and we're going to do it in the summer. It'll be the first. It's called tentatively. I don't know if officially, but tentatively, it's called the Meals We Share. And so this is really a great program for libraries because what brings people together more than food? And so what we want to do is have a program where people come together and there's different topics and different questions, and they share their stories about their food stories, So like, so if it's the Meals We Share and we talk about holiday traditions, and you might come in and say, well, when I was a kid, for Easter, my grandmother used to make chocolate birds' nests and put little eggs in them.
Sure.
She really was something.
Yeah.
And I have a great memory of that as a kid, they look like little robin's eggs in a chocolate basket. And I might share that story, and then I might provide that recipe and show how it was done. And so Biblioboard lets us, we can have this program outside of there, but then we can capture that recipe and make a community cookbook of some kind.
That's a great
We could
idea.
also attach photos. We could attach video instruction. We could have me sharing my story as like a capturing a moment of history. So the possibilities of Biblioboard are endless because we can create this collection of the meals we share, and then people in Marion County sharing these stories. Plus, you get the opportunity to make that recipe if you'd like to do it. We're making our own cookbook. We're doing all these different things together. Mind blowing. So we have to bring him in. He's hard to understand because he's from Kentucky, but
Well,
you'll enjoy it.
we speak Kentucky.
Yes,
here,
good.
So we will look forward to that.
Yeah.
And I know you've already told me that there's a number of other specialists. You are being generous when you say you're not a specialist. You're a generalist. But
Yes.
but you are. You're kind of like the keeper of things.
Yeah, oh, yes.
And I'd love to get the specialists to come in.
Oh, yeah.
And perhaps sit down with you and then expand on all of these different programs. In fact, as we continue here a little bit, are there some things upcoming that you want to note? Either in April or...
Sure.
I know there's a couple of things that are underway right now.
Well, so every summer we have Marion Reads, and so it's our summer reading program. But we wanted to do something really in support of National Library Week, and so then we thought, why just a week? Let's make it a month. And then we said, what could we do this month that would be reading themed to get people excited about reading? And so last year we started something called the Reading Derby because we are horse country.
Exactly.
And so the idea being that we're going to read all month long. Yeah, you can stop by any library or go online, and you can record the minutes that you read every day and register. And at the end of the whole thing, we're going to draw for lots of prizes, again, provided by the Friends of the Library. So
Exactly.
usually Barnes & Noble gift cards or other gift cards and that type of thing. But really just a fun way to mark your progress, for kids to mark their progress. Inside the library, we have little horses on tracks that every furlong's 100,000 minutes or so on. But
So you watch the progress as you come to the library.
Yeah. So as a community, we want to be reading together. And then my thought, now this is just me, this is not library talk.
Okay.
I want to challenge these people from Lexington, Kentucky who think they can read better than us. Because who's the horse capital and who's the reading capital?
Boy, that is a challenge.
You know what I mean? So, so let's have fun with it and let's just get out there and read. So this is just another way to do that. So be part of the Reading Derby every week. Come in, share your progress. You can do it online. So simple, so simple, but it's fun.
Sounds it's going to be a horse race.
Oh, it's going to be a real horse race. Yeah. Let the puns begin. So, for sure.
Well, Lee,
But drawing is the first Saturday in May, by the way, which we all know is the Derby. So, okay.
So we have to be prepared for that.
Yes, yeah.
Anything else you'd like to highlight at the moment? I know that the next issue of Words will be coming out in the not too distant future.
Sure, yeah.
And then we'll be prepared for what's coming with the summer.
Yeah, so we had a number of great programs in this issue, the Magic and Music of Spring, and we had a lot of really empowering deliveries of Amy Sweezy came and gave a talk about life changes. I don't know if you know Amy Sweezy, the
I've heard of her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she came and talked, and we had Diane Johnson do a talk about Zora Neale Hurston. Yep. Amazing. We had a great number of speakers, but in the summer we also have a number of speakers, but also this is one of my favorite parts of being a librarian, because you get a chance to bring the world in for children that, wow, make a real difference. And almost always we have animals in the summer. And this summer, I think we have bats in the library. We have our arthropod petting zoo, which is like bugs from University of Florida come.
Fantastic.
Kids love that. We have a number of service animals that make their way through the library, and in different capacities. One is Sassy, which is a miniature horse. We have Mocha, a dog. We have another dog. I can't think of his name. Bo is coming this summer, and then just all kinds of animals. The Santa Fe Teaching Zoo, or the zoo up in Gainesville, that will be coming down. So,
oh, wow.
Anytime we do that, there's going to be a crowd. But kids love to do that. You have the miniature horses from Gentle Carousel, who I'm sure you're familiar with, who do that. But circus performers, all kinds of stuff. But I think anytime you can open the eyes, get people excited about any subject, because when they do that, they come in and they think, oh, I want to learn about that more. You inspire them to read and grow. And so, it's just the most fantastic thing. The best time in the library is the summertime, in my opinion.
Well, folks, the summer is coming, and this can be picked up at the library.
Sure.
That's also online.
Yeah, it's library.marionfl.org.
Thank you.
And I will say, Words Magazine is available on there. If you have a library card, it automatically will come to your email. But we do have copies available inside the library, and great calendars and all those things. So,
well, if you'll indulge me, I have a couple of shout-outs from
perfect.
people for the library.
All right.
And I'll preface that by saying, if you want to have something valuable in your pocket, get a library card, because it may be the most valuable piece of
it's the smartest card you'll ever own.
The smartest card you'll ever own. Thank you. The only thing that you absolutely have to know is the location of the library. Albert Einstein. When in doubt, go to the library. J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter fan.
Yeah, sure.
I have found the most valuable thing in my wallet is my library card. That was Laura Bush, former First Lady.
And librarian.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Libraries always remind me that there are good things in the world. Librarians are tour guides for all of knowledge. In the nonstop tsunami of global information, libraries provide us with floaties and teach us to swim. These are quotes that some of the most famous thinkers and writers have dedicated to professing their love for the libraries. Thank you, Lee Schwartz, for being with us today. We want to engage you, our audience. Please give us your comments and ideas at marionforumgroup@gmail.com on this topic and on our other topics. You can also view this episode on YouTube at Marion Forum Group. Please hit the like button, leave your comments, and share with your friends. Remember, your voice matters. Join us for our next episode of Marion Voices. Until then, stay safe, be a good neighbor, and thanks for listening. Support your local library. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it. Thank you.